Welcome to this podcast for Brighton School of Business and Management students studying for the HND Level 5 courses. Section 1 is looking at marketing audits. Bullet point 1. Here you're being asked to look at how the marketing planning process and perhaps the expected or desired outcomes of marketing planning are changing. In other words, are marketers trying to achieve the same things now that they were trying to achieve several years ago? And if they are not, how have things changed? And very importantly, why are the perspectives changing and where is this leading us? It would be very useful to include some real-world examples in your assignment of how these perspectives are changing. Bullet point 2, you're being asked to look at the factors that determine whether an organisation is actually in a position to control its own destiny and effectively plan its own future marketing activity. You need to consider what internal and external factors and forces an organisation needs to understand and possibly control in order to plan its marketing strategy, and then whether an organisation really has the systems in place in order to measure these factors, and if not, why not, and how could this be addressed. Also consider what an organisation needs to do once it has planned its marketing activity to ensure that it can put this effectively into action. Bullet point 3 is expanding on the previous point and asking you to look at the ways you could assess internal and external factors. So you might want to think about the strengths and weaknesses of different assessment techniques and why the information that they can collect is important to the marketing planning process. And the final bullet point is asking you to choose an organisation and then put your theory or theories into practice and conduct your own internal and external audit. Section 2, on bullet point 1, the issues around an organisation's own capabilities that you have already covered in the previous section can often be one of the barriers to marketing planning, but there are also several others which you need to identify here. Include as well the reasons why you think the factors that you're including are potential barriers. And remember, this section is looking specifically at barriers to marketing planning, so not at this stage barriers to implementing a marketing plan or strategy. Section 3, I think the key to producing a good assignment here is choosing the right product or service, one that requires a marketing mix that is complex or interesting enough to allow you to demonstrate a broad knowledge of the subject, to show a clear understanding of how to formulate an effective marketing plan, and also one that allows you to put forward some imaginative ideas to incorporate into your strategy. An important word to keep in mind throughout this section is justify. Put logical arguments forward as to why you are making the recommendations you're proposing and why these are going to be effective, and where you can support them with evidence from your own organisation or from other companies in the marketplace. Bullet point 5 is asking you to look at some of the things that may get in the way and may make it difficult to implement your plan, so you need to identify these barriers and then explain how you intend to overcome them. And moving back to bullet point 2, this is asking you to look beyond marketing planning and to consider how marketing fits into the wider issues or the wider picture of strategic business planning. You're being asked specifically here why marketing planning is essential. You could consider other issues here as well, like possible conflicts between marketing and other functions within an organisation, whether or not marketing planning is more essential for certain types of businesses or products than others, and whether perhaps different trading conditions, like trying to survive a recession, are likely to put more or less emphasis on marketing. Section 4, this is looking at ethics in marketing. Even though the first bullet point only refers to marketing planning, I think your assignment should also consider how ethical issues can affect the implementation of a marketing strategy. You could look at how ethics relate to the different players in the marketing process, the consumer and the manufacturer or marketer, but also you could have a look at how ethics are likely to affect other parties like advertising agencies and agents or distributors, and how they might react if their client or supplier asked them to do something that they considered was unethical. You could also look at ethics as it relates to the different elements of the marketing mix, so ethical considerations relating to the product itself, and then also ethics in relation to pricing, distribution, and promotional policy or strategy. You need to include examples of how ethical issues have had an effect. First of all, in relation to how businesses have responded, which could be examples of good or bad practice. And secondly, examples of where consumers have raised ethical issues or taken an ethical stance, and how this has influenced a company's marketing policies and practices. Finally, if you need any further guidance or assistance with this assignment, please contact your tutor.